Yes, I'm the same person, but I've actually gained a lot of values and I've gained a lot of wisdom, I would say, to say that, yeah, they did find me, like, they cleared me of my charges. I was found not guilty. It was found that I was able to prove, that I was attacked. I was able to prove that there was an offensive aggression that came behind what happened that day, and the aggression never came from me. It came from the other side, which and where I had to defend myself in order to save my life. So I was able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that behind, sorry, beyond a reasonable doubt. You're having reason. Is it doubtable? Is it not? What is the evidence proving? Is it proving that he's telling the truth, or is it proving that it was the rather or the latter? Sorry, you know, and that's the thing. Usually, most of the time, I'd say a good 90 or above percent of the time or greater, that if you're innocent, you're able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt through many different forms that you are an innocent person for the charges that have been laid upon you, that there was no intention. You didn't go down the stairs to do anything harmful. You got attacked, and then you had to push the man off of you to save, like, or else you would have succumbed to your injury. And that is a violation of the law against the other party, not the person that was charged. And to be charged under law, you have to have violated the law, and the law states that assault is against the law, and that's what I was, assaulted. So I accidentally was charged with assault. Like I said, they gave me a great plea deal. I accepted it. But then at the same time, they better jot down some notes if they're being reasonable, or else they're going to be completely delusional. It's scary for them. That I only accepted the plea deal because I just wanted to get it over with and it was done. I didn't really have the listen. I would have beat it at trial, but my lawyer was charging $4,000 more, and the prosecution said, "Hey, we know we're going to lose that trial, but here we'll give you a couple months or whatever, and we're dropping all the charges." I was like, "All right, deal, boom, in and out, easy peasy." Ate a couple meals, slept a couple nights, and I was done with my sentence. And that was the deal that I was given because I was able to prove to the prosecution, which probably, hey, they're a great prosecution. I remember the guy himself and the one guy that the prosecution had represent their office and whatnot. And they call it something else here. They don't call it prosecution, they call it something else. You could say the word if you want, but and they knew that it was like that, but they knew that I needed some learning to do, and I agreed, so I wanted to go learn too. And that's what you're supposed to do in the jails is learn. I learned a lot in the jail for the short time that I was there. Oh, but it takes pieces and cracks you up all together through everything. And that's one thing that you learn. Even a small amount of jail time, it could be detrimental. I mean, you could lose the woman of your life over one night in jail. Your house, your this, your that. People could break in and steal whatever. People could burn down your house when you're in jail. A lot of different things could happen, okay? You just don't want to go to jail. That's one thing I learned. One thing I learned is jail's the last place you want to go to start your defense. It's not the first place. They don't give you any educative resources to defend yourself like you might think they have set up there. You might think that you're going to be provided with a copy of the law handbooks of the Constitution or of Well, I think it's a little bit different in the United States, maybe, but what about the Charter of Rights? No, they will not provide you with such sometimes. But seeing in the retrospect, the judge must have knew that, well, I was innocent, and hey, there's no point in providing those charter because he knows what it says in the charter, and you're innocent. Release the man. Charges are cleared. If not, maybe he went through a point of discrimination, in which, well, it saddens me that the judge or maybe other ones had to suffer from such defeat, because that's how it feels when they lose the court battle. That's now what I learned is you have a court battle and it all comes down to the law, and they try to maybe be discriminative, but if it all when it finally comes down to the law, if you were one of those ones, it will crack you like a nut. Like, look at the picture of Phil. And yeah, like it will crack you completely like a nut in half if you're one of those ones that are trying to prosecute an innocent on some mafioso, like hitman type of thing. Because that's what they tried to do to me. It had nothing to do with my innocence. It had just to do with they didn't like me as a person. They didn't like my successes. They didn't like my ambition. They didn't like anything. They were just killers. And beyond a reasonable doubt, that of murder is against the law. And if you are one of those ones that have the intention of just killing, thou shalt not do such of kill. And that is against the law, in which you would violate by aggressively prosecuting me. You're now stepping on to, say, all types of stuff, intimidation, assault, all types of RICO Act offenses, okay, of the 1970s. I'm all for bringing United States federal law and making sort of a mixture combination with Canadian law, sort of. That's how it's supposed to be. I mean, Canada's supposed to be free in itself and have its own law, sort of, and all that. But at the same time, don't think you're just going to violate RICO statute and all that up in Canada and think you're just going to fly seagull and smoke on people down in the United States, because that's against the law too. And that's what they tried to do to me. Tried to smoke me out when it came to the system. And that is called, what do they call it? Gating people or whatever. Jail term. It's like they gate you. They just try to like make, once they can kind of get you wrapped up, they all work together and they hate you to death or whatever, and you're their freaking sacrifice. And if it doesn't matter who you are through the law, if you get through those doors, they're going to eat you alive or whatever. And they do that. Luckily, like Lil Wayne went to prison. He got out and did all right. And same with me. Lil Wayne was cell 111 or whatever. They had him in for a couple of years. And he was right back on his feet. And so am I, It's like, and guess what? Those ones are back. And it's around the same time that Wayne was, you know what? It comes down to their sleeping patterns and shit. I said this before, eh? Even with your police every day, one day it might be the Jewish police. The next day it's the black police. The next day it's the Italian police. The next day it's those fuckers. They go to sleep, then they're on duty and all that. So those ones are on duty right now, hardcore. They just took Thug to jail. All those ones, they're super hungry. They're on the just like that Thompson. They're like I was telling niggas about that Thompson. I said, hey, those, and then here we go. You can see it. I gave you the goddamn reasonable doubt. Feel me? You got the whole reasonable doubt. And I'm not talking to Wayne. I'm talking to everybody. And then look at what just happened to our sisters down in the United States. I just had a lunch with sisters. I didn't sit at the same table with them, but they were close enough. And I seen them. And I know somebody that's directly related to Wayne or whatever, whether they help him financially or not, my friend Brian or whatever. And they maybe do, maybe not. Actually, he's got a lot of tattoos. I think they have helped that kid out a lot, and he looks just like Lil Wayne. I'm not going to show the pic of him. But yeah, they're back, and it's not necessarily FBI because I work with the FBI. It's specific agents maybe that were off duty that are coming back on duty. They would just had a 5-year hiatus, and their truck broke down, and they need a new set of tires, so they're back on duty now, and shit like that. But I want everybody. But the ecosystem's changed. I mean, like I said, people are not getting away with that corruption shit like they used to. I mean, I'm a full-time corruption lawyer. I hate corruption. Like, I will sit here and lawyer on corruption all day because they try to hit me with corruption. And it's horrible. And I'm not one of these corrupt ones either. I am not corrupt. I've always been one. My name is Thomas Perron-Slote, and these ones are such and such nickname on their Facebooks, and they're hidden behind their back transactions and their cash, uh, suspicious cash. And that's changed my opinion. I watched this video where they seized this guy's cash. And I was thinking, like, hey, that's that guy's cash. But then I said to myself, like, I never carry that much cash because I know you never carry that much cash. You keep it in the bank. Or if you're going to make a purchase, you're supposed to have your invoice with you while you're carrying that cash or whatever and shit like that. It's supposed to be, or you go to the dealership and it's a wire transfer. Like, very rarely do you deal with that much cash. But yeah, like there's even some people that look normal with no tattoos that are real hardcore criminals. And that's one thing I learned. Like, hardcore, more than some others. Hey, some of those ones with the tattoos are pretty gosh dang criminal too, and they're crazy, some of them. But then at the same time, some of them ones that look completely gosh darn normal are gosh darn super bad people. Like he sees cash. Oh, I don't know what it was. I don't know where it was in Vegas. I met this one Mr. Herrera in Canada. He's the one that changed my opinion. I used to think it was only ones that kind of like looked like these ones, sort of.
Tonight,
you know what I mean? But that were the bad. But it's all discrimination. That would be discrimination. It's not. It's about the actual person's character. It doesn't matter what their outside appearance looks like. But all I mean is that, even normal people are into crime too. It's not just decorated criminals or decorated ones. Ones that are decorated with the tattoos or decorated here, decorated there. Some of them even have decoration outfits or decoration vehicles. Or some of them are in I noticed the character of the people that are rolling around in their tinted windows. And I realized how big this whole game was. I realized that I was the only one that had moved past it. And there's a whole load of players that are still in this game, which, hey, crime pays, they say. But so does law enforcement. And you can pick your side, and I picked law enforcement because that's the official one, and I knew if I was going to ever want to be official, then I would have to use my efforts to create the entity in which under law would be legal for me to perform an enforcement of certain law or whatever, and that's what I did. But that's to the contrary. It's a completely private business, and I'm not in the mood to talk about it right now, and I don't have to. It's private law enforcement. And some of our local police who happen to be hired by us, and they're still not getting that, don't understand that, yeah, the world also has private law enforcement. You are our public police. We pay money for you to patrol our streets to make sure the little petty drug dealers, the drunks and shit like that, the ones that are doing shootings and all that is taken care of. traffic violations, domestic violence, all that. Oh, then you're starting. Then what you're doing is you're penetrating people's families illegally, and then they have the right of self-defense. Mafia is just a term I use altogether for family. Maybe I should. I'm just such a young kid. Maybe I should just start calling it family, because that's what I think a lot of people say. At first, it was like, yeah, and that's how a lot of people are. When they're starting to learn how the world is. It's not mafia. It's just how the world is. But mafia is a certain thing that you should learn to live in this world. Yeah, it's all part of the world. That's what some of them are not getting, how high up I am as an official. But at the same time, they don't understand. Well, they do in public and all that. They are a very high up official too. But you got to watch how old you are as an official, because that's what happened with this Judith Esposito. She had no conscience. She had no caring. She had nothing about the other person, which is illegal. I had just bought myself a new ring, which I saved and saved and saved for. It's not her duty to steal my possessions. She's my probation officer. She asked me where I bought it. I told her. She called them. I told her that I'm learning about jewelry. She called him. He said that I was learning about jewelry. Well, that I wasn't an official apprentice, but I was learning about jewelry. And that's the only question she asked. She didn't ask me why I bought it, how long I wanted it for. Um, uh, um, this is Brampton. I'm glad you're starting to fit in. There was something wrong, terribly wrong, and it was just Judith and her friends. She's part of this really bad group of police that are thugging around Brampton. They kill people for their jewelry. She's going to act like she's Italian mob now, but she's police. So they're a certain mob, those police. And I tried to be so nice. I would have gave Judith everything. I was even going to buy her a diamond ring. But she chose to just be a murderous person, killing. I would have given her anything she wanted, but she violated the law on me to kill me or whatever, to steal my, and all that. I just don't get it. I would have did anything. I would have gave her a meal if she needed a meal. Like, she was hungry. She was starving. Okay? Out in Brampton, starving. It was unbelievable. It was disgusting. It was like a hyena. It was like such a disgrace to our law enforcement here in Canada, all the way down to the United States. They were disgraced because of what happened with that whole probation situation where I was accidentally on probation. I was accidentally, charges were pressed, but they should have been dropped. All that. And it's like she was the most disgusting hyena.